You've probably been told you're average your whole life, but psychology research reveals 7 hidden signs that you're actually way smarter than most people. Number 5 will surprise you. When most people hear the word intelligence, they picture straight-A students, mathematicians, chess champions, or people who can memorize entire textbooks. But psychologists look at intelligence very differently. They study things like reasoning, learning speed, adaptability, curiosity, emotional awareness, and something called metacognition, basically how well you understand your own thinking. In other words, intelligence isn't just one trait, it's a whole collection of mental habits. And some of the smartest people in the room are often the quiet ones, the overthinkers, the question askers, the people who don't even realize how sharp they really are. So let's break down 7 subtle signs that you might be a lot smarter than you've been giving yourself credit for. Sign 1. You overthink everything. Let's start with something people complain about all the time: overthinking. You replay conversations on the way home. You imagine what you should have said. You run through 10 different ways something could turn out before making a choice. Friends tell you, "Relax, you're stressing too much." But here's the twist. That mental looping is actually your brain running simulations. It's testing possibilities. Highly intelligent people often analyze situations from multiple angles before acting. They think about risks, consequences, and alternative strategies. Now, there is a difference between thoughtful analysis and anxious spiraling. Overthinking can become unhealthy if it traps you in fear. But the ability to see complexity, to imagine multiple outcomes instead of one simple storyline, that's mental horsepower. It means your brain doesn't settle for easy answers. It wants the full picture. Sign 2. You're self-critical. Here's another one people tend to dislike about themselves: being too hard on yourself. You finish something and instead of celebrating, your mind jumps straight to, "Yeah, but that part could have been better." Someone compliments you and you brush it off. You constantly feel like you still haven't reached your full potential. That can sound like low confidence, but psychologists noticed something interesting. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. In simple terms, people with lower ability often think they're doing amazing. Meanwhile, people with real skill tend to underestimate themselves because they're more aware of how much there is to learn. They see gaps others don't. They catch mistakes most people miss. So that inner critic in your head, when it's balanced and constructive, it's often fueled by high standards, not arrogance, awareness. Sign 3. You adapt easily to change. Think about the last time something in your life suddenly changed. Plans got canceled, a job shifted, rules changed overnight. Did you freeze, or did you slowly start working out a new approach? Being able to switch strategies, learn new skills, and stay mentally flexible is called cognitive flexibility, and it's one of the strongest predictors of intelligence. Smart people don't fall apart when their first plan fails. They test new ideas. They pivot. They ask, "Okay, what's the next best move here?" In a fast-moving world, that ability to adjust can matter just as much as raw knowledge. Sign 4. You ask a lot of questions. Were you the kid who drove adults crazy with endless why questions? Why is the sky blue? Why does that work? Why can't we try it another way? Some people grow out of that. Highly intelligent people usually don't. Curiosity is one of the strongest drivers of learning. People who ask questions aren't trying to show off. They genuinely want to understand how things work. They dig beneath the surface. They challenge assumptions, not to argue, but to learn. If you find yourself researching random topics at 2 a.m., going down internet rabbit holes, or asking follow-up questions in meetings, that's not being difficult. That's intellectual hunger. Sign 5. You're messy. All right, time for the controversial one. Look around your room for a second. Messy desk, stacks of papers, clothes on the chair that you swear are still clean. Before you start judging yourself, here's something interesting. Some research has linked cluttered environments with higher creativity and more unconventional thinking. Perfectly organized spaces can encourage discipline, but chaotic spaces can push the brain towards exploration. They nudge you away from rigid patterns and towards new connections. Of course, this doesn't mean every messy person is secretly a genius. But if your space looks chaotic, yet you somehow know exactly where everything is, and you're constantly coming up with ideas inside that mess. Yeah, that combination shows up a lot in creative, intelligent minds. Sign 6. You stay up late. Are you naturally more alert at night? When everything gets quiet, your thoughts suddenly speed up. You start planning, reflecting, watching documentaries, reading random articles. Some studies have found a link between later sleep schedules and higher cognitive performance. One explanation is that night owls often spend more time alone with their thoughts, exploring ideas without distractions. Now, quick disclaimer, this is not permission to wreck your sleep schedule. Health always comes first. But if your brain consistently kicks into high gear after dark, you're in good company. A lot of deep thinkers report the same habit. Sign 7. You talk to yourself. Be honest. Do you talk to yourself while working? Muttering instructions? Coaching yourself through tasks? Arguing with yourself in the mirror? Psychologists call this self-talk, and it turns out to be incredibly useful. It helps with memory, focus, emotional regulation, problem solving. You're basically turning your thoughts into an external strategy board. So if someone catches you whispering to yourself, you're not weird. You're running your brain on expert mode. Why society misunderstands intelligence. Here's the bigger picture. Society often treats intelligence like a single number, grades, test scores, job titles. But real intelligence shows up in many different forms. Logical reasoning, creativity, social awareness, emotional depth, pattern recognition, strategic thinking. A lot of brilliant people grow up believing they're average simply because their strengths weren't rewarded in school. So if this video made you see yourself a little differently, good. That means you're questioning old labels, and questioning labels is usually something intelligent people do. So how many of these signs did you recognize in yourself? 1, 3, maybe more than you expected. If even one of them made you pause and think, wait, that's me, then this video did exactly what it was supposed to do. Because intelligence isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with trophies, perfect grades, or dramatic movie moments. Sometimes it looks like curiosity, doubt, late-night thinking, talking to yourself, adapting when things fall apart. So the next time you catch yourself assuming you're just average, stop for a second. You might be measuring yourself by the wrong definition. And if this video made you think of someone, a friend who overthinks everything, a sibling who stays up late, that coworker who asks non-stop questions, send it to them. They might really need to hear this. If you enjoy psychology-based content that helps you understand your mind a little bit better, make sure you're subscribed. More videos like this are on the way. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.